I took a call from my own voice last night. Now I can't go home. You learn to hear the shape of a house in total darkness. That's the job, not emergency response. We're the people you call before things get bad enough for sirens. We're a prophylactic service, according to corporate. We listen to the little noises, the weird smells, the shadow that doesn't fit the tree outside, and we talk you down. The second thing they teach you is that the concordance is always right. Every possibility has a protocol. A strange draft is page 19. A rhythmic tapping is 32A, 32B, or 32C, depending on the number of beats. You follow the flowchart, you read the script, you never ever go off book. If the caller gets weird, if their story loops or shifts, you hit transfer and take your hands off the keyboard. My trainer, a woman who looked like she'd been living on cubicle air and regret for a decade, slapped the thick binder. Don't get creative, Zev. The concordance knows their pipes better than they do. The copy I inherited was old. The corners were soft as felt. Someone, a long time ago, had made notes in the margins with a silver pen, the kind that only shows when the light hits it just right. Never say their name more than twice. If they say it's quiet, ask what's missing. A scratching in sets of 4 is not the wind, but mostly it was quiet. Broken sump pumps, a faint smell of gas from a pilot light, a teenager who got too high and convinced himself the radiator was breathing. Mundane fear, easily packaged and filed away. At 1:24 a.m., I took a call from a woman named Adelette. Her voice was thin, stretched taut over a frame of panic. Something was beating its wings in her crawl space, a frantic, papery sound. I walked her through page 22, trapped fauna. Turn off the lights, crack the exterior vent, be patient. We sat on the line in silence for 10 minutes, listening to nothing. Then, a sudden scrabble and a gust of air. Adelette let out a long, shuddering sob that was pure relief. You'd think joy would be loud, but it's usually quiet, exhausted. I filed the report, resolved, and went back to waiting. At 2:19 a.m., a man named Ovid called. There's someone at my back door. Says it's my neighbor, Cassian. Says he's locked out. But his voice is wrong. We have a protocol for that. Page 74, familiar impersonation. The checklist has 3 validation points. The name of the elementary school you both went to. The color of the porch light 2 houses down. And a deeply personal question only a neighbor would know. Ask him what happened to Mrs. Gable's prize-winning roses last summer. Ovid asked. The voice on the other side of the door got the school right. It guessed the light was yellow, not amber. Close. Then, a long pause after the rose question. A wet, gulping laugh. The deer, the voice said. The deer ate them. Wrong. A burst pipe had flooded her garden. I told Ovid to say, through the door, that he couldn't help. The script is very clear. You are not obligated to open your home. Ovid thanked me, his voice tight with a gratitude that felt sharp in my ear. Just as he hung up, I heard it. Not a knock, not a palm on glass. It was the sound of a single fingernail being drawn slowly down the length of the wooden door, a sound that raised every hair on my arms and left a splinter in the silence. I logged it, avised, and tried to forget the sound. Then, at 3:33 a.m., the line clicked. Residential safety. This is Zev. How can I help you? A hiss of static. Then a small voice, a child's, so faint I had to crank the gain on my headset. There's a drip, under the kitchen sink. It smells like rust and old water. My fingers found the tab for section 5. Page 113. Atypical moisture, olfactory contamination. There are charts for smells. Gas, mold, rot. Then there's the subsection, metallic. Old copper pipes. Or, as the concordance puts it, in its sterile, bloodless language, unaccounted for biological particulate. The protocol says, if the metallic odor is paired with unexplained auditory silence, you proceed to 11-3D. Are you alone? I asked, my voice straight from the script. Mom's asleep. I was getting water. A tiny pause. My hamster Pip, he's not running on his wheel. The wheel isn't turning. He's just looking at the wall. Unexplained auditory silence. I flipped to 11:30D. Tucked into the binding, a note glinted in the monitor light, written in that same silver pen. If the smell solidifies before the sound, go to 1130E. This was critical. It was a fork in the road. One path led to a plumber, the other somewhere else. Which did you notice first? I asked, keeping my voice level. The smell or the dripping? The drip, she said, without hesitation. I almost relaxed. That kept me on 1130D, the safer branch. The script was simple. Instruct the caller to shut off the main water valve. Wait for them to confirm the drip has stopped. Reassure them. I talked her through it. She was trying so hard to be brave, her breaths too perfectly spaced. I heard her put the phone on the counter, the soft padding of her feet on linoleum. A grunt of effort as she turned a stiff valve. A shaky sigh. Okay, she whispered, back on the line. It's off. And the drip? I asked. It's slower now. Slower isn't on the flowchart. The options are unchanged, faster or stopped. Slower how? Like it's thinking, she whispered. Thump, thump. A heavy, deliberate beat through the phone. A world away from the frantic ticking of a normal leak. Okay, I said, and broke the first rule. I improvised. I want you to stand in the doorway of the kitchen. Don't go back to the sink. Are you with me? Yes, she said. Her voice was thin, a thread about to snap. I think it knows I'm on the phone. The silver ink in the margins seemed to burn. If they say it, nows, escalate. My hand hovered over the transfer button. My supervisor would be pissed, but the protocol was the protocol. Before my finger could press down, the girl whispered, Zev? The drip stopped. I froze. My own breathing was a roar in my ears. Does the smell? It's stronger, she said. It tastes like it's in the back of my throat. The line hissed. And then, one by one, the fluorescent lights in the office began to go out. Not a power failure. The monitors glowed, the phone system was lit. It was a rolling blackout, starting from the far end of the room and creeping toward my cubicle, swallowing the building in a thick, silent darkness. Zev? She whispered, her voice cracking. The cabinet door is open. I broke the second rule. I asked a question that wasn't in the concordance. How do you know? You're in the hallway. There was a terrible stretching silence. And then she said, so quietly I felt the words instead of heard them. The dripping has a lisp now. My finger slammed down on the transfer button. It was dead. The little red light didn't even flicker. The call was locked to my line. My eyes flew to the binder, searching for a manual override, a failsafe, and I saw it. Page 113 wasn't a full page. The bottom half had been torn away, leaving a ragged, fibrous edge. It cut off mid-sentence. If the drip develops a secondary vocalization, do not. A lisp. A secondary vocalization. Are you there? The voice on the line asked. I held my breath. That question was a tripwire. The silver ink on another page flashed in my memory. If they ask twice, mute your mic. Look only in reflections. I stared at the dark screen of my monitor. My own face stared back, pale and washed out. Headset clamped to my skull, mouth ajar. The empty aisle of cubicles behind me was a black river, broken only by the dim red glow of the exit sign, and in the reflection, sitting in my chair, was me. But it wasn't me. My head was tilted at an angle that would have snapped my neck, a grotesque, broken doll posture. And it was smiling. Zev? The voice asked again. The second time? My thumb found the mute button. I looked down, not because I heard a sound, but because my pen slipped from my numb fingers and clattered onto the floor. It was pitch black under my desk, a void. From that void, a hand emerged, my hand. It had my bitten down fingernails, the small white scar on my index finger. It picked up my pen, held it out to me, an offering from the darkness. My own two hands were frozen on the desk in front of me. I didn't scream. The sound was trapped behind my teeth. The line crackled. The girl's voice was gone. In its place, I heard Adelet, the woman from the first call, her voice syrupy and distorted. It slipped out into the night, she cooed. Then her voice melted, shifting pitch and tone until it was mine. My own calm, professional voice from the script. "The line is secure, ma'am. There's nothing to worry about." It was a perfect mimicry, but hearing it felt like swallowing glass. My trembling hand fumbled with the torn page in the binder. Tucked behind it was a single, loose sheet I'd never seen before. It wasn't part of the official printout. It was a cheap photocopy, the text slightly skewed. At the top, in a blocky, severe font, Pyrox Imidi ECE. "Do not engage." I scanned the instructions, my heart hammering against my ribs. "If you recognize the voice as your own, terminate the call. If you observe a physical duplication, it has already established a foothold. Do not look directly at it. Do not accept anything it offers you. Do not put your hands where you cannot see the knuckles. Leave the building. Do not use any reflective surfaces in the lobby. Outside, count the windows on the north-facing wall. If the number is asymmetrical, do not go home. Use the payphone across the street. Call the Dawn manager. Wait for a plain white van. It will not be idling." Something wet and cold touched my knee. I didn't look down. I didn't take the pen. I stood up so fast, my chair crashed backward into the cubicle wall. I didn't run. I walked, my legs stiff, my eyes locked on the red e-exit sign at the end of the hall. In my monitor, I saw the reflection of my double stand-up too. It raised its hand, my hand, and it waved goodbye. I took the service corridor to avoid the big glass doors of the lobby. The emergency exit bar was cold under my hand. It groaned open, and the night air hit me like a physical blow. It smelled of ozone, like the air after a lightning strike. The parking lot was empty, a stage lit by a few sickly orange lamps. Across the street, the payphone waited in its little plastic shell. The instructions said to count the windows. I know that building. I see it every night. 5 windows on the top floor, 3 on the bottom. We call the mismatched one the clown window because it looks into a bricked-up wall. I counted. 1, 2, 3, 4 on top. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom. Symmetrical. Perfect. And the window to the manager's office, the one that's always lit, was a black, hollow square, like a missing tooth. Wrong. I didn't go home. I crossed the street. The payphone receiver was clammy, slick with condensation. It smelled of rust. I dialed the number for the Dawn manager. The line rang. Across the street, the lights in the office flickered once, then went out completely. A white van turned the corner, its headlights off, and ghosted to the curb beside me. The engine was utterly silent. The side door slid open. A woman in sweatpants and a university hoodie looked out. Serena, the Dawn manager. Her face was grim. "Did you answer it?" she asked. No greeting, no surprise. "I was the one who called," I said, my voice shaking. She looked at me with an expression of profound, weary pity. "That's not what I mean, Zev." She handed me a plain white paper mask. "It's a filter. It has your voice. Now it wants your breath. Keep this on until the sun is fully up. Don't speak to anyone who knows you. If your phone rings and it's your own number, break the phone." I wanted to ask 1,000 questions. None of them were in the concordance. She only asked one. "Did you take what it offered you?" "No," I whispered, clutching the mask. "I didn't take the pen." She gave a short, sharp nod. "Good. Then you can come back tomorrow." "I'm not coming back," I started, but the words felt like a lie. I thought of the girl, of Ovid, of the thing that wore my face and sat in my chair. I thought of the dripping that learned to speak. "You will," she said, and it wasn't a question. "I'm in a 24-hour diner now. The sun is coming up, but I can't take this mask off. In the chrome of the napkin dispenser, I can see my reflection. A few minutes ago, I blinked. It didn't. The concordance forbids posting about our work. We're preventative. We're invisible. But there's no protocol for when the thing you're supposed to prevent follows you out the door. So this is my protocol. My page 11/3E. If you hear a drip where there shouldn't be one, leave the room and close the door. If the quiet in your house feels loud, it's because something is missing. Find out what. If a familiar voice sounds wrong, it is. Don't let it in. If a voice on the phone asks if you're there more than once, hang up. The second time is an introduction. The third is an invitation. And if you're working late and you see your own reflection in a dark screen, just make sure it's the only one looking back. Make sure it remembers to breathe when you do.